chompers, those teeth. Me. Hi guys, it's Celeste. Hello. I don't know. We're going with like weird camera angles right now because it should be like a little bit higher so you can see like that much above my head, right? Like it should be like as if you could see like to there, right? Or like a little higher. You get what I'm saying. But like it's a little low, but it's actually fine because when you need to see something, you're gonna see something. Anyway, today, well, I have a few things I want to show. I have a few things I want to show you. And just some stuff I want to talk about. Also, I just want to talk about like pop culture in general. Not even any specific events necessarily, but like you guys have to understand that I'm incredibly psychic. Incredibly, you could say, broken in that area. If you imagine it like, you know, okay, here's what I was gonna say. I'm just gonna say it and then we can talk about it, right? So I was gonna say like, if you imagine that people with souls come the way that they may seem, but like similarly to a wild animal or like a horse, for example, there's like a training process that they can either be initiated into or they cannot be initiated into, right? Right. We can talk more about how that actually works. Should I say it now? I don't know. I don't know if people are gonna take this as like controversial, even though I've never heard anyone take it as controversial because I've never said this to anyone. So like there's no like precedence for that, right? Or precedent. I don't know the difference. What's precedence? What's precedent? Whatever, precedent. That's probably the right one. Because you know, it sounds like the more like masculine version of the word would be precedent. So it's probably correct that would be like the default in the world, right? I don't know. If I had to guess, that's what I think we would have been given as like the option for that word. Anyway, the point, why am I always trying to find the point of what I'm saying? I'm always trying to make sure you get the point of what I'm saying. Like, immediately, when I am actually doing a disservice to myself, because I could have just told you the whole story that I wanted to tell anyway, instead of just like jumping to like the conclusion, because I feel like people are like, oh, if you talk a lot, like no one's gonna like you, which I don't think is true. Like I think that's like fake. Like I don't think that's real. I think that's like not real, you know. Wow. I do kind of wish that like the camera were at a better angle, but you're actually going to have to be able to live with it. You're gonna have to find a way. You're gonna have to find a way. You're gonna have to be fine. That's not even my problem. You're gonna have to be fine. So I'm incredibly psychic, so I can see what people are, wow, I'm sorry. Okay, so I actually just channeled something else that I should say that's like true as well. Anyway, I can see what people are currently selling their soul for. I can also, which I'm saying it in quotes because it does essentially mean what you think it means, but it also is deeper than that, so I'm just putting it in like quotations so that I might go back to it and explain what that really means, but I might not because you might not need that information. we're gonna find out. Okay, but yeah, so I can see what people are currently selling their soul for, you could say. I can also see what people are currently feeding their soul and feeding their spirit. I can feel it, see it, you know, not like visually, but like psychically, like it's tangible, like not visually, but like if you just knew this, like I forget the words, but you know what I'm saying, like say you like were around this, you were like, okay, I know that there's like a yellow like Bath and Body Works soap. You might not know like there's like stars on it, but you're like, there's a yellow Bath and Body Works soap like right next to me, and you would be correct, that kind of thing. But you might not be like, I can see this exact shade of yellow, but like it's like the general, like it might be a little fuzzy, but like it's the general, like you would be still like correct with the theme of it. Okay, so you might know the value of it. Say this were like exactly $12 or something, like I would be like, it's exactly $12. Like no if and or but about that. I'd probably get it pretty close to like within a cent of like what it's actually worth, you know, like that kind of thing, right? So not saying that's how much that costs, but I'm saying like not about money, but I'm saying like as like the energetic or like spiritual worth of certain things, right? So I can see what people are currently like selling their soul for. I can see what parts of them they're currently selling in different ways. I can see what they're feeding their spirit. I can see what they're feeding their soul. Those are separate things, separate categories, separate methods, separate ways, whatever. I can sort of like, you know, not everybody is doing the spiritual work in the world as you can imagine, Not everybody is self-educating in any type of way. Not everybody is. Some people are like iconic in certain ways in culture, but then when you actually see what they're like feeding their soul, they're actually just like doing certain drugs, or they're just, and that's their entire thing. Like that's their, it doesn't go like, they in their own mind, they're not like working on anything, they're not bettering themselves. Like you get what I'm saying? That a lot of times, a lot of the people right now who are in these high places in like society, right? A lot of the, honestly, I'd venture to say, I don't know everybody, but like every celebrity, obviously, I don't really know like that many celebrities, but like probably everyone with like 100 million followers in any capacity has done some crazy drugs, if not crazier stuff than they are even like willing to talk about, like way worse than like doing crazy drugs, like the craziest stuff, right? And not, I mean, I'm not saying none of them are bettering themselves in any way. A lot of them are like very, very good at working on their net worth, working on becoming more powerful. Like they are powerful. They are. And I'm not saying they're evil. I'm just saying that like there are a lot of people who are like making their soul stronger, making their spirit stronger, and working on their relationship with themselves, who are not the ones who have the hundreds of millions of followers. And sometimes it's, you know, true that the ones with the hundreds of millions of followers are the ones who are not doing the work. Maybe they're bettering their net worth, and maybe they're really good at that. And maybe they're really, 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 really fucking good at marketing. And that is still an aspect of themselves. So like, yeah, they're still bettering themselves, but they're bettering the aspect of themselves that is marketing. And there are some, you know, ways that, sorry, there was like something in the air. I was like a little like fuzzy thing floating, you know. But yeah, so it's funny to see that a lot of the people who are super famous, it's sad to see. It's very stressful to see, very distressing to see that a lot of them are not actually like working to better themselves when they have the opportunity. It's the wastefulness of these opportunities to become better, to say this is who I am and who I want to be, and this is like the path to get there. Like a lot of them are just like, well, if I have $100 million and 100 million followers, like why would I become a better person? Like, that's kind of the mindset a lot of them have. So if anything, because they're wasting their time so much, they're eventually like almost getting like worse. I mean, some of them are getting worse. Some of them are staying the same. And staying the same is still the enemy of growth. It's still not taking you places. It's still not like doing everything that is meant to be done. That's, you know, very true. And it's very funny to me because in culture, it's like, and I'm guilty of it too, but like everybody wants to like be that person with like 100 million followers or like $100 million or like a giant house or whatever, or like there's influencers in LA who are like eating at like Nobu or something. It's like, oh, that's probably like a good experience, it's probably interesting, but at the same time, if you can like see through these physical or like superficial barriers, you can see that the ones who are able to have these like extravagant experiences, like most of the time those are the ones who are feeding their spirit or their soul or both just like complete garbage and just like becoming a worse person by the day. So be definitely cautious of like who you look up to, because I really think that a lot of things are going to continue to come out about people, you know, like, and I'm so intuitive. I want to tell you, like, all of the stuff coming out about, what's it called? Like, what was the show called? The one with, like, Victoria Justice, Ariana Grande, Dan Schneider. Is it just called Victorious? Okay. I think that's what it's called. But, like, it sounds weird to say. But I think that's because, like, victorious, like, to have victory in an area, and then to see everything coming out about Dan Schneider. Did he not manifest not going to prison for everything that he literally did? Like, did he not come out victorious in a way? Like, which is absolutely disgusting and weird and creepy, but doesn't it almost look like he like manifested that using the name of the show? Like, I'm just saying. Anyway, literally as a child, I already knew there's something wrong with this. Like, anytime I would see that show, like, I would go to, like, someone's house, I would see that show, like, on the TV. I said to myself, like, they're clearly doing drugs on set, they're in high school, like, like, I was, like, 6 or 8 years old or whatever, like, watching, like, little clips of that show, just, like, on the TV as a kid, and it's, like, so they were drunk. I immediately could see through it. I was, like, clearly these are kids in high school who are drunk the entire day. Like, clearly there's somebody in their environment they're not comfortable with. Like, you can actually, it doesn't even matter whether you're a child, an adult, a teenager, whatever, an old person, like, if you have eyes to see that stuff, you know, like, or you can feel like something is wrong there. And so a lot of times you'll even just know like what's actually wrong there. So way before any of this was even coming out, like, I just could tell like there's something wrong. Like, they don't feel safe on the set, or they're literally just drinking excessively. Turns out both of those were true. But the kind of thing is, like, even as a kid growing up seeing that show, being exposed to it, it was weird because having the like energetic perspective of that, I was just like, oh, so that's probably what like high school is like then, I guess. Like, I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, they don't seem happy, but that must be what high school is like then, because those kids are in high school. Like, it wasn't because I was like a kid perceiving that, like a child perceiving that. I didn't like separate it, like, no, this is their experience and then that's what like high school is. Like, in my brain, I thought both of them were like the same thing, because I still had like eyes to see what they were going through, but I thought that was like just the normal experience for them, because I had never surpassed that age to even know if that was like a normal thing or not, or like what that was. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. I wonder if somebody who's gonna watch this just like needs to hear that or something, you know, or if that's like confirmation for somebody, if there's like something relating to that show that someone's like meant to hear. Yeah, so so another thing I wanted to say, one more thing, like, to explain sort of like the concept of what it would actually look like if we could tell who's like responsibly feeding and working on both their soul and their spirit versus people who are not. It would be like if you were in a, okay, so you and, sorry, you're just gonna have to picture it, okay? So if you stepped into a gym, okay, like a workout gym with 10,000 people, half of them are celebrities, half of them are normal people, okay? Picture it like that, okay? Now, you're completely in the dark, the lights are out, okay? Some people in the gym are doing excessive drugs, and you don't know who they are, like you don't know who's who, it's completely dark. You have no idea who's who. Some people are just like doing excessive drugs or just hooking up with whoever, and they can't even see who it is because they're blind too, like it's completely dark, no one can see. Some people are like lifting weights, working out, like eating healthy food that they conveniently have, like the logic of this is not a part of it really, but like, I mean it is, but like not that kind of logic. The other kind of logic where it's like listening to the story that I'm telling you, but not like trying to make the story like physically real, okay? So, yeah, so like, you know, some of the people doing excessive drugs, just hooking up with whoever, like eating the worst food, having the worst like mental experience, like telling themselves like the worst story possible, or having like nothing going on, like not the attitude of like bettering themselves, but more of the attitude of like they don't care, and they want to be worse or they don't care, right? The other group of people, you know, they're eating like spinach or something, they're like lifting weights, they're listening to a podcast while they're like running on like the whatever it's called, like the equipment at the gym, like, you know what I'm saying, okay? So say that went on for like multiple years, it would then like it's still dark, like no one could see anything. Imagine like if nobody went blind though, because I know like if you're in the dark excessively, like you can go blind, but like we're like leaving that kind of logic out of the equation. But you know, clearly like one group of people is like deteriorating, another group of people is like improving themselves, right? So imagine like the aura that the people who are improving themselves would have now that they're like building up, versus the people who are literally like destroying themselves, destroying their body, like hurting themselves, okay? Now imagine suddenly after like a few years, the lights just turn on and everybody in the whole room can see who did what, who made what choices, you know, who chose one path for a little bit but then changed their mind and chose the other path, like either way, good or bad, right? Like that kind of thing. Like every choice that they made is now visible, even if like for one of the, say it's like 5 years, for one of the 5 years they chose one path, then they chose the other one. It's like if everyone in the room like turns around, looks at everyone, they're like, oh, I see, like you chose this one path for like 1 year, but then you chose for the other like 4 years to choose this other path, like everyone can see it. Or if you just chose like the steady like growing path, like the healthy path for like all of the 5 years, like people can see that. Like you would still look different than the people who chose it for like 4 years, but the people who chose it for 4 years would look better than the people who chose like the really bad path for 5 years, obviously, or most of the time, right? Like you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. So it would be like that. But like in our society where like some of the famous people or like the influencers that you might look up to, or like maybe you've heard of them, like you would be surprised, even if you think you know who those people are and who they're not, you might still be surprised like which ones actually chose like a worse path or a better path than you would have expected. So I don't know, it's kind of fun to think about. I think about that like every day. Sorry, I'm sitting on like pens. I was like writing something in my bed earlier. I always am though. So I made 3 spell jars. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I got so excited about the conversation. I'm out of breath. I made 3 spell jars earlier today, or like finished them. Like I had them sitting out, but like I finished 3 spell jars today, and I have 3 more that I'm working on. So I got some things, and I want to show you guys my little haul of like items that I got. This is like a steamed apple juice from the Barnes & Noble Starbucks. I love the little coffee bean detail. That's so cute. So fun. Yeah, little Barnes & Noble Starbucks. So it's steamed apple juice, you know, pretty good. Literally just apple juice, but hot. It's like kind of not healthy. I was gonna say healthy, but I was like, actually, maybe it's not healthy. Definitely not. Definitely just sugar. So I want to show you like a haul. I got some stuff from Joann Fabrics for the spell jars that I'm doing. And for spell jars, I literally use like a empty plastic water bottle. That's what I would recommend if you're on a budget, because if you buy a glass bottle, it's expensive, like it adds up a lot. So what I do is I literally drink all of the water in a plastic water bottle. And then the first thing I always do after I drink all of the water bottle, well, I put the cap back on because I don't want to lose it. And because my room is such a mess that if I set the cap down for even 1 second, it's gone for the rest of my life. But aside from that, the first thing I do is I take off the label of the water bottle. If it has one of the ones that are like easy to take off, not one of the ones that are like the entire thing, right? And the first thing I do is I put the label from the water bottle inside of the water bottle, and I think that that's, I don't do it every single time, but like when it feels right, I do that, because in my opinion, one of the first things that like when you want to work on yourself that you have to feed yourself are all of your like labels that you use, right? Like, what do you label yourself as? What do you label other people as? Like, what do you label, if you wanted to label this as like, for example, like healthy or unhealthy, like that's like a label that you're giving to it, when at the same time, like, yes, you would not want to only eat sugar forever, but that's also just a label. So it's like the first thing you want to do is feed yourself. Well, I say feed yourself because you're working on yourself through the vessel of the spell jar. So what you would do is like, here, yeah. So this doesn't have a label or a cap because this is one of the ones where I literally like took off the cap, lost it. So now I can't even use this, or I can just like cover it with something. But you get the point. So I had already taken off the label because I used it in a different one, but you know, I take off the label, put it inside, because the first thing you want to do is feed yourself the labels that you, you know, are just like using in the world. Because they might be true, they might not be true. So it's not bad to like make sure that you're sort of like feeding yourself the labels so you can like break through that unnecessary obstacle in a way. Like, you want to see things on a deeper level than just what you've already labeled everything as. Then sometimes I take a Sharpie and write words on the outside of the bottle. Those can either be like planned out for the intentions of like what you want your spell jar to manifest or be like named after, or like what do you want it to do, right? Or you can just channel, like literally just, the whole point is like you want to trust yourself. So if something comes to mind that you want to put on the outside of it, just do it. Like, it's kind of like, don't hold back, like just do it. So then once I've written everything on it, I fill it with whatever dry ingredients I want. So often I'll take like paper, ripped up paper, or just like random paper. I can draw like sigils or like symbols or whatever. Basically a sigil is a symbol, but like a magical symbol. I can just like draw some of those, write some words on the paper, tear it up, you know. If you have like, I've put like moldy bread in there, like that's kind of weird, but like I've done that, like depending on what it's for. And I don't like, gonna sound weird. I don't sit here and plan out like moldy bread represents this, this, and that. Like, I don't care about any of that. I'm fully like intuitive. So in my brain right now, I do like the first thing that comes to mind for like a spell jar. Like, I fully go with my first intuitive thought, and that's something I'm practicing, and I've practiced for like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, yeah, like 8 months or something, is when I make a spell jar, just go with my first intuitive thought. So, like if I want to do a spell jar for fame right now, okay? Like, because on the same topic, okay? A spell jar for fame right now, I would take a water bottle, you know, put the label inside, then write maybe like 3 or 4 sentences on the outside, close it up, or open it up, I mean. I would probably put some dirt from outside in it, like some just like normal dirt. I would put some dry dirt, some wet dirt, just like probably like that much, okay? Then I would put some of those stones, you know, the stones you can put in like fish tanks, or like the little like marbles, but like the flat ones, like partially flat marbles, I don't know what they're called. I would fill it like again to like probably there with those. I would draw some sigils on some paper, tear them up, put them in there. That'll take probably like 20 or 30 minutes. Then I would put some, I have these little like liquid potions that I've bought before in the past. Actually, I'm like out of them. I used them in spell jars. They have like a little dropper thing, like I've dropped like little amounts in there. I squirt lotion in there. Like, I literally, like, lotion, olive oil, those are like wet ingredients, but like I add the dry ingredients first, then wet ingredients. If you have pasta, I have a box of pasta that I keep in my room, like dry pasta, that I use. Like, I'll put probably like 10 or 15 like pieces of the pasta in there. If it's spaghetti, like I just break them up into tiny pieces, put them in there. I've used leaves from outside. I've used dried up flowers that I bought on Amazon. Like I've used like lavender, I don't know. There was like this little like herbal like mix box on Amazon I got. It was like $20 and it still lasted me probably like 4 months, 5 months. I just use like a little pinch of like each one in each jar, or like if I'm like intuitively led to use certain ones, like I use those, okay? I've used like tarot cards, like I just like rip them up and put them in there if I really want to, but like not ones that are like important to me, because otherwise like I'm not gonna be able to like use them again because they're in the bottle, like that kind of thing. You know, any like freebie stickers that I get from like ordering anything online or that I've had in the past, whatever, like I use craft store glitter, like I probably use like a good chunk of that in each one, probably like that much in each one when I have it, but I run out fast because I just use like a whole tube of glitter in like one sitting for like 3 or 4 spell jars, and it's like that much each one, you know, like there's not a whole lot of glitter in there. Oh, I use craft, like Elmer's glue. I can use shampoo, like candle wax on the inside or the outside of the bottle. What else do I use? Paint, any color of paint that you have access to. Lysol wipes, makeup remover wipes, any kind of like, I already said like hand lotion. If you have like fake eyelashes or something, you could put one of those in there. Nail polish. Actually, I think I ran out of all of my nail polish because I poured it all into spell jars. Like, what else? I feel like you would take like some kind of like sponge and rip it up in there. Anything outside you find, like any cool rocks, any dirt, any like beads that you have. If I eat like you know those like string cheese, like the cheese sticks, like I'll eat that and then put the wrapper in a spell jar. Like any receipts that I have from buying anything, I just put in a spell jar. Like I tear them up, put them in there. It's technically like trash, but you're repurposing it to actually like use for a spell. Sorry, my voice just like did something weird. I don't know. but you can like repurpose them to use for a spell. And I think it's cool because if you think about it, like receipts kind of represent like the same thing people like use the word for, right? It's like keeping like receipts of something, like information, like you know, like screenshots or something. Like it's kind of funny because it's like you can almost like feed off like drama with that if you wanted to, using like just literally receipts that you like bought random stuff on, or like, you know what I'm saying. I don't know, literally anything small that fits in the opening of a water bottle you can put in. So anytime I put water, I also put soap because I want it to be hygienic and I don't want it to be like, I don't know. To me, for some reason, it's unhygienic to ever add water to a spell jar without adding soap as well. So even when it's only materials from outside, I'll still, if I put water in there, I'll also add soap. Or if I put like olive oil in there, like I'll also add soap, like some kind of like soap that I have. Yeah, so I want to show you guys like the stuff that I bought for spell jars. We talk about it. So the first thing I bought is pom-poms. I just thought they were so cute. Adorable. Again, like none of it necessarily like represents anything that I'm like consciously like thinking of, but I just trust my intuition, I trust my soul, I trust my mind, like I trust my spirit. I'm like, I know, I trust my higher self, like I'm like, I know that I'm going to lead myself in the right direction. And so that's definitely something that I prioritize and care about a lot. People like care about different things. Like I'll just make a spell jar and be like, oh, I don't know what it's for, but like I'll probably find out. Like when it does something, I'll find out what it did, you know? Like when it does something, I'll find out like what it did. A lot of the time, like most of the time there's an intention with it, but when I'm so bored, I'll literally just make one, be like, I know that I'm putting magical energy in here, but do I know exactly like where I'm gonna need it the most? Not necessarily. Like I trust myself to put it where it belongs in a way, like, you know, like I don't need to like say it has to go to this part of me or this situation in my life or this person I know or like this situation in their life to like protect them in this way or that way. I'm like, I trust myself to know which direction to put it. Like I trust my higher self, I trust my spirit, I trust my soul to know like this is where the magical energy is needed the most, and this is the symbolic like item that we need the most to like work on that part of myself in a way. Yeah, so this right here is like obviously it's like Halloween ribbon. It's like velvety, super fun, super fun. I don't know, I like this. I wanted it. And it's so funny to me, lately I've been calling Halloween just like in my head, and I was like, oh, I don't know why. I've been calling it Traumaween, which is so funny. Like I don't even know why or where I came up with that, but every time I would say Halloween in my mind, it starts like correcting to like Traumaween, and I was like, I guess like Halloween is like scary, right? Like you could say that, like maybe that's like, I don't know where that goes. I don't know where that goes yet, but like that idea of like instead of Halloween it being like Traumaween, but I think it's funny, like not in a bad way. I just think it's like hilarious, like so funny. I don't know. So I'm definitely going to be like using that influence of like Traumaween, that concept, you know. Anyway, this like highlighter yellow crazy, like you can't even see on camera how yellow this is. Like in person it's way more yellow than it looks on camera. I'm just gonna use that there, you know. Okay, and then I got Pete's. So this one, can you see it? The lighting is like not that good to look at it. I got it because it actually reminds me of like liquid mercury, which I know it's coming across way more like red than that. And it is, but there's like notes of like silver in there. So because I don't know, it reminded me of like liquid mercury, so I got it. Because I was like, how weird is that? Like, but it's like more red, obviously. I don't know. Oh, I just realized these all have like, I'm assuming fake pearls, right? I don't know. Are pearls like, are like craft store pearls real or fake? I have no idea. I would not know. Because I don't know, are pearls like diamonds or are they like easy to come by? I have no idea. I would not know. Pearls can either be, in my mind, they could be like $10,000 or like $2. Like, I would not know. I have no idea. But yeah, so I got like these like white, or like, they kind of look off-white in the lighting. Maybe they are, I don't know. But like, yeah, I got these like white pearls, off-white pearls, whatever. I got blue ones. Or like, yeah, I don't know if they're considered pearls, these ones, but like, whatever they are. I got those, whatever they are. These, you know, they're just adorable. They're little pigs. Can you even see that? Is it even picking up? Can you see that? Can you see how good that is? It even has like a tail. And there's like little pearls in between, like pink ones. So I needed that because it was crazy. I needed that. So that's it for like spell jar making stuff. Next, I got this pillow. Just dropped it. Like this weird Halloween dude. I don't even know. What even is that? Like, I have no idea what that is. It's from like that company. But yeah, like, it looks like there's like fuzz coming out. Oh no. It's already not perfect. Oh no. But it literally looks like a marshmallow, like a giant living marshmallow just like inside of a pumpkin. Kind of weird. But yeah, like 9 times out of 10 for spell jars, I just use either outdoor materials or things I have lying around in my room. But today, I just wanted to like go out and get some extra stuff for them. And then there's one more thing I bought that's again not for spell jars, not for like crafts or anything. Like Japanese myths and legends. I almost dropped it. Or actually, it's not myths and legends. It's called Japanese Myths Legends. That's kind of like a really ghetto title though, because what do you mean Japanese Myths Legends? Like, are the myths taking ownership of the legends? Like, aren't those like the same word? Why did you need them both in the title? For the Google searches out there? Like, what's going on? I don't know, it's super cool. I didn't read any of it yet, so like it might not be good at all, but it might be good. It could go either way. All for the video. I love you guys. Thanks for coming here to hang out. Bye.